If you've been trying to learn jazz guitar but feel like nothing is sticking, the solos, the chords, the vocabulary, the standards, this video is going to help you fix that. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you my simple 3-step learning loop that can completely reshape the way you learn jazz guitar over the next 90 days. And more importantly, you'll walk away knowing exactly why what you've been doing to this point hasn't been working and how to turn it around starting today. My name is Maddox and I teach guitarists around the world how to learn jazz guitar systematically so they can actually make real progress and feel confident in their playing. So here's the plan for this video. First, I'll break down the 3-step learning loop that every developing jazz guitarist should be using. Then I'll show you exactly how I apply this framework inside my brand new 90-day jazz blues system, which is coming this January. And this is so you can see the exact method in action instead of just hearing me talk about theory. And finally, whether you join the program or build your own plan, I'll show you the clear roadmap that you can follow for the next 12 weeks. The entire system is built around a process I call the 3-step learning loop. This loop solves the I'm practicing a lot but not actually improving problem. And underneath the loop is something even more powerful, and it's what we call a flywheel. Now, a flywheel is a process where each action makes the next action stronger, faster, more effective. The idea is that once the flywheel starts moving, it builds momentum on its own. And the surprising truth is this: most guitarists never improve because their learning never turns into a flywheel. Everything they practice is in a separate box. We got tunes over here, we have scales over there, improv concepts in another place. Nothing reinforces anything else, so nothing sticks. That's why you can practice for months and even years and feel like every week you're starting over. So the 3-step learning loop fixes that by turning your practice into a constantly spinning flywheel where every new skill reinforces the previous one. So here are the 3 steps. Step 1 is simple: learn a tune. Jazz is built on the repertoire. If you don't know the tunes, nothing else connects. A tune gives you melody, chords, form, voice leading, time feel, all contained in this musical context. And learning one tune deeply teaches you more than just learning 10 tunes shallowly. It's also important to learn tunes so that you can play music with other people. Step 2, learn improv concepts. This is where most players get overwhelmed, because improv concepts can feel like an endless list of scales, arpeggios, ideas, just jargon generally. So I simplify everything into 2 main buckets. Bucket 1 is our theoretical concepts. These are things like the blues scale plus I talk about in this course, scale and triad system, and different approaches to chromaticism. They explain how the harmony works and what notes actually create this sound of jazz. Bucket 2 is more practical melodic devices. This is where the music happens. This is what we think of as essential jazz patterns, short, flexible building blocks that when you combine, you get essential jazz vocabulary. These are the real musical phrases that you recognize. They resolve, they swing, they land correctly. So this is how you finally stop thinking in terms of scales and start sounding like a real jazz musician. Step 3 is apply the concepts to the tune. And this is where we get that flywheel kicking in. Learning the concept by itself doesn't improve your playing. Applying it does. This is the thing I see most people skipping. Application means taking the idea, you put it into new keys, new positions, new rhythmic feels, new chord qualities, new musical situations. This is where you develop phrasing, control, confidence. And here's the key that makes this whole flywheel spin. Every phase of learning needs to review and reinforce the concepts you already learned. That's this idea of spaced repetition, which has been proven to be the single most effective way to build long-term musical instinct. So we have the tune, we have the improv concepts, and we apply it, and then we repeat with another tune. Now you only get this flywheel if you're actually building and reinforcing on the ideas you learned previously. Most people don't do that. Most teachers, to be honest, don't really think this way either. But it's so important because once this flywheel starts, your growth becomes inevitable. So the tunes these teachers teach, they don't build from one to the next. That's why I created the whole master standards blueprint concept. But going further from that, the improv concepts don't connect. There's no review, no reinforcement, no building on the improv concepts that you've learned previously. So you get slow progress, you're constantly confused, and just years of feeling stuck. So this is why I build this flywheel into every program I create, and this one's no different. So at this point, if you're thinking, okay, but how do I actually put this into practice? That's exactly what I want to show you next. We're going to jump over to my screen and I'll share with you how this is built in to the 90-day Jazz Blues system so you can see a real example of how to do that. And whether you want to copy this program, join this program, apply it to something else, that's totally up to you. So to make this crystal clear, I'll show you exactly how I do that with the tunes, concepts, and application. So the 90-day Jazz Blues system is built around 4 classic jazz blues tunes. These are very common on jam sessions, and you'll end up playing these throughout your entire jazz career. And so the first phase starts with Blue Monk. And this is over a 3-week period. And the first class, the first week that you'll do is learning the melody and the chords for the tune. So that's the first thing I recommend for any tune that you're learning. Obviously, you need to know the melody and the chords so you can play the tune, and we can build on that. Week 2 is where we add in that new improvisation concept. And so if you're developing this on your own, you need to find some improv concepts that you can lay out, or find a teacher who has done that for you, or join this program. So class 2 of this first phase, we're going to talk about the blues scale plus concept. And then class 3, week 3, is the application of that concept to the actual tune. In this case, I've written out some level appropriate solo studies that use that language. All of the phases for this particular program are actually based around Grant Green vocabulary. He is known as really the father of this jazz blues style. And so we're going to study a lot of Grant Green through this, a lot of Grant Green's improv concepts, his vocabulary, how he plays over jazz blues tunes. So that's basically the 3-week cycle. It's learning the tune, improv concept, application, just like we talked about, the 3-step learning loop. And it's really important that we stay focused here and not overwhelm ourselves. There's just one tune for these 3-week periods. There's one concept, and there's one application of that concept. The next phase, we will go over Watermelon Man. Same thing, learn the melody and the chords. We'll learn Grant Green's signature lick, week 2, and then again, apply it. Now, here's a key thing that other teachers don't do. I don't see this really done at all because it's difficult. The solo study for this phase 2 and the future phases uses the concepts that came before it. So not only are we practicing this new concept of Grant Green's signature lick, but this class 6 also reviews the blues scale plus concept. When we go to phase 3, this is days 45 to 66, and we're doing Song for My Father. When we talk about the scale and triad concepts, we're also going to review Grant Green's signature lick, also going to review the blues scale plus concept, all within this. So by the time you get through this, phase 4, Mr. PC, fast minor blues, we'll talk about continuous chromaticism, solo study reviews all previous concepts. And then phase 5, I think this is really important, so I include this in all of the programs from this point forward, is having a 15-minute one-on-one session with me. And that's just so I can really understand you personally, what you're struggling with, make sure that this was a successful program for you, and then just design what are the next steps for you based on how you worked through this program. What's the next course you should go to? What's the next focus for this, let's say, the next 3 months of your jazz guitar journey? So that's the process through 90-day Jazz Blues system. I really encourage you to find a system that is very systematic, that gives you this week-to-week exactly what you need to do. Having someone to check in the case of this, anyone in Chase the Guitar Academy, they get access to me to ask me questions, get my personal feedback. And that's just to keep you motivated, keep you accountable, keep you making progress every single day, every single week. It's very, very helpful. The members inside Chase Guitar Academy have found this to be very effective for them and very motivating. So hopefully it is for you too if you decide to join. So what happens after 12 weeks of cycling through this loop? Well, you'll know 4 real jazz blues tunes you can actually call on a gig. You'll improvise with vocabulary that sounds like jazz, not just running scales or arpeggios. More importantly, you'll understand how the harmony works, how to make your lines fit, how to apply this to major chords, minor chords, dominant chords. Your phrasing, time feel, and your ears will all improve, and you'll actually have confidence in what you are playing. You'll finally feel like you have a real system for learning jazz guitar, not random courses, information just scattered everywhere. So this is that transformation that the 3-step learning loop creates. Like I said, you can absolutely take this framework, build your own 12-week plan. I encourage you to do that. If you do nothing else but follow this 3-step learning loop, your playing will grow. If, however, you want a done-for-you system where the tunes, the concepts, the vocabulary, the backing tracks, the feedback, the weekly structure are already laid out for you, that's what I'm offering with this 90-day Jazz Blues system, which comes out at the beginning of January. If you're already a premium member inside Chase Guitar Academy, you're automatically guaranteed a spot in January. No need to worry if that's the case. For everyone else, there are only a handful of spots left. Now, if you're watching this before December 1st, you can get access to the Season of Madness spots down below. If you're watching this afterward, you may still have access, and you'll get that with the premium plan. If you're on the standard plan, you will get access if you join before December 1st. So you're going to want to do that, again, down in the link below. You get extra bonuses if you sign up on the annual plan before that point as well. So even if you don't join the program, take this framework, run with it, choose a tune, choose an improv concept, and apply it until it shows up in your playing, then repeat. Do that for 12 weeks, and your jazz guitar playing will never be the same. If you want to know which tunes I'd recommend you start with first, watch any of these videos now where I go through my Master Standards Blueprint system. I'll see you guys in the next video.